The lecture hall of the Galactic Military Academy stretched 300 meters in every direction, a cavernous space designed to accommodate the diverse physiologies of 1,000 different species. Holographic displays floated above the amphitheater seating, translating the instructor's words into 600 languages simultaneously. Sandra Chen sat in the human section, a modest cluster of 30 seats tucked between the towering Krogathi warriors and the crystalline Vex observers. She wore the standard-issue cadet uniform, though hers had been modified with additional pockets, a very human touch that her instructors had learned not to question. At the center of the hall, suspended in a gravitic field, hung a suit of Precursor armor. The artifact gleamed under the spotlights, its surface a mesmerizing dance of geometric patterns that seemed to shift and breathe. It was estimated to be over 50,000 years old, a relic from a civilization that had vanished before most current species had discovered fire. Instructor, a distinguished Etherian with luminescent skin and delicate arms, gestured toward the armor with reverence. What you see before you represents the pinnacle of defensive technology. The Precursors achieved what we still consider impossible: a powered exosuit that could adapt to any environment, any threat, any species. The other cadets leaned forward, their various appendages, tentacles, and sensory organs focused intently on the artifact. Sandra watched with polite interest, her expression neutral. The armor's environmental controls, Velthar continued, his voice filled with wonder, maintained perfect homeostasis for the wearer. Temperature regulation across extremes from near absolute zero to stellar corona temperatures. Pressure compensation from vacuum to crushing ocean depths. Radiation shielding that could withstand direct exposure to a supernova's aftermath. A murmur of amazement rippled through the assembly. The Krogathi clicked their mandibles in appreciation. The Vex chimed harmonically. Sandra shifted slightly in her seat and whispered to Matthew Rodriguez, her fellow human cadet sitting beside her. Mine had better ventilation. Matthew's lips twitched, but he managed to keep his expression serious. He knew exactly what she meant. Velthar was still speaking, his enthusiasm growing. The Precursors achieved a zero-point energy system that powered the suit indefinitely. No charging, no fuel, no degradation. This single suit has been operational for millennia, simply waiting for a wearer. The neural interface, another instructor added, a Quellian with compound eyes that could perceive 17 dimensions, required no training. The armor bonded with its wearer's consciousness, becoming an extension of their very thoughts. Movement as natural as breathing. Sandra coughed quietly to cover a small laugh. Matthew elbowed her gently. The presentation continued for another hour, detailing every miraculous feature of the Precursor technology. The instructors waxed poetic about the integrated weaponry, the self-repair, the quantum lock security protocols that had taken the galaxy's finest scientists 3 centuries to bypass. Finally, Velthar concluded, this armor represents our past and our future. If we can understand even a fraction of Precursor technology, we might elevate ourselves to their level. Perhaps, in another 50,000 years, our descendants will create something equally magnificent. The assembly broke into applause. The various species-specific equivalents. The Krogathi drummed their lower arms against the floor. The Vex created harmonic resonances. The humans clapped. As the cadets filed out, discussing the presentation in excited tones. Matthew finally turned to Sandra. Okay, you have to explain that comment. Sandra grinned, waiting until they were in a less crowded corridor. Remember our survival training on Kepler-4 for 2B, third rotation, the jungle death world. How could I forget? I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Remember the environmental suits they issued us? Standard human military gear, rated for Class 4 hostile environments. Matthew nodded slowly, understanding beginning to dawn. Those suits had actual ventilation, Sandra said. Air circulation channels, moisture wicking, temperature gradient zones. Because humans sweat, Matthew, we cool ourselves through evaporation. It's messy and inefficient by galactic standards, but it's how we work. She pulled out her datapad, calling up technical specifications. That Precursor armor, perfect environmental seal, perfect temperature regulation. It would keep you at exactly optimal temperature through direct thermal manipulation. Which sounds amazing, Matthew said. Until you remember that humans need to sweat. We need airflow. We need that slight variation in temperature across our skin. Lock a human in a perfectly controlled environment, and we'll be comfortable but wrong. That armor would maintain perfect stasis, but a human would feel like they were suffocating in a warm bath. Matthew stared at her. You're saying the most advanced armor in galactic history would be uncomfortable for humans? Yeah, not dangerous, Just annoying. Like wearing a wetsuit for a week straight. Our Mark 7 combat suits might be clunkier, heavier, and less impressive, but at least they let us breathe. Literally. They walked in silence for a moment before Matthew started laughing. We're such a weird species. The galaxy spent 300 years reverse engineering precursor technology, Sandra said, and we're the species that would ask for ventilation holes. To be fair, our engineering philosophy is different. We build for comfort and field maintenance. Because we're the species that will wear something for 3 weeks without taking it off. Sandra nodded. Every other species treats their equipment like sacred artifacts. We treat ours like tools. If it doesn't work for us, we modify it until it does. They reached a dormitory level where species-specific environmental zones branched off in different directions. Before parting ways, Matthew said, you should write a paper about it. Human-specific modifications for precursor technology. Who'd read it? Everyone, after the first human tries on that armor and immediately starts complaining about feeling stuffy. Sandra laughed. Yeah, that tracks. We'll be the species that finally gets to wear 50,000-year-old miracle armor. And our first complaint will be about the air conditioning. Humanity. Fuck yeah, Matthew said with a grin. Humanity. Fuck yeah, Sandra agreed. We'll take your perfect technology and add cup holders. As they separated, Sandra couldn't help but smile. The galaxy marveled at ancient perfection while humans remained relentlessly practical. Perhaps that was humanity's real strength, not that they could build the most advanced technology, but that they'd never stop asking, but does it have better ventilation?